God is good, and with each day that passes brings us a day closer to the launch of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. This is the Nathan Napalm channel, and if you are new here, please consider subscribing, especially if you're interested in Pantheon related content on our march to launch. Today guys, I want to talk a little bit about no-lifing. I mean really diving in deep into a game so ridiculously that you don't eat, sleep, or hardly even use the bathroom. So my experience with that, and I've done it with several games over the years. I still do it from time to time, just in shorter bursts than I used to. I used to know life my entire life. Best example I have, and of course I've done it with all the various games in some fashion or form, but I don't think it's ever consumed me quite as badly as the first time I fell in love with Final Fantasy XI not long after its launch. So in this game, you would spend a lot of your time, especially in the early launch of this game, you'd spend a lot of your time just sitting there waiting for a group, you know, calling it out, looking for group, all this kind of thing, until you finally found people that were also looking for group. You usually ended up forming your own, or you got invited to a group because somebody in their group was leaving. And when you joined this group, it was different than today, because when you joined it, it was like there was already an establishment, right? When you were filling in, when somebody left and you popped in, which was a big portion of the way the groups worked for me when I played Final Fantasy XI. So when you got in this group, they were already established, they were already had their routine going of pools and all this kind of thing, and you just had to kind of fit in and kind of figure out the way they were doing things and try to maximize your role, and you were getting that sweet XP. And I mean, XP was hard to come by in Final Fantasy XI. You basically had to group up. I mean, you could solo, especially if you were, what was it called, a Beast Lord or whatever it was called in that game. You could solo, but man, pretty much every other class, especially back at launch, you had to get a group, man, or your XP was so garbage that it would take you months just to level up one time, even at a lower tier. So once you hit about 11, I want to say it was somewhere between probably level 10 and 12, you had to go out. And at that time, it was in the dunes where it begins, and you just had to find a group. So you'd sit somewhere safe, and you would start calling it out that you're looking for a group. And when you got in, man, you couldn't leave, all right? And the reason you couldn't leave was because you didn't want to, because that XP was so good, man, and they took it so seriously. People today just wouldn't even understand, but like, you couldn't just say, hey guys, I'm done, I'm tired, that's enough of this, I'm leaving. You couldn't do that. Are you freaking kidding me? You had to find a replacement. You would be playing the game, sending tells out to other people, looking for other people, looking for a group, contacting them, saying, hey, do you want to take my spot? I really have to freaking eat or sleep or take a dump or whatever the case may be, and I need a replacement. I got to go to work, you know, whatever the case may be. And you had to find one, and then you had to wait for that replacement to get there, and then you were acceptable to go ahead and leave that group and let this other person take over. Now, that sounds horrible, I know, but it wasn't. It was some of the best times of my life. But while you're in this group, man, you're really just trying to perform. If you were a DPS, man, you were trying to freaking do the most damage. It was like the pressure of a raid, and all you're doing is pulling what would now be called trash mobs. But they were hard, they were difficult. The faster you could freaking kill that thing and pull the next one and keep everybody's mana up and everybody's health safe, the quicker everybody got XP, and it was an art form, man. That's all I know to say. It was a freaking art form. And you were playing with Japanese people that have this kind of translate feature sometimes. You wouldn't even know what in the heck was going on. Those Japanese players were really good, man. In my experience, I got in a couple of groups with them. Holy crap, they're freaking professional. I didn't know what was going on. They were trying to talk to me. I didn't know. I was just like, I'm just going to do my job. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what they're referring to, or if they're asking me to do something. I don't know. I'm just going to do my job to the best of my ability and try to keep this group and stay in this group as long as I possibly can, because XP is freaking crazy. But when it was time for you to eat, it was time for you to do something in life that your body needed, man, it was like sometimes they would do little breaks. It'd be like, you know, the tank would be like, all right, guys, we're going to take a little 10-minute break. And you would like literally run to your fridge. You slap together pieces of bread and ham and cheese. Forget about the sauces. Forget about the seasoning. And just cram it down your throat right back at your keyboard again. And just get right back to it. You would try to pee, take a dump, whatever you had to do in that 10-minute break, and get back to your group, because there's plenty of people looking for group. And if you suck, they're going to replace you. And they're never going going to forget you. They're going to think you're a terrible gamer, and you're not going to get a group. So next time you're out looking for a group, guess what? Your reputation's ruined. It was that serious. Now, maybe I just took it way too seriously. Maybe I could have been a little bit more relaxed, but man, I love the game. I love the world. I love the dungeons. I love the atmosphere. I loved everything about this game, and the fact that it had things tying it back to the Final Fantasy series really held me deep into this game. My job I took so seriously that it was insane. I played several jobs throughout the course of the game, but I started out as a Dragoon, so that'd be so cool, play a Dragoon. You know, you would have thought maybe that I would have went straight for Paladin. I didn't. I was a Dragoon. I did a Paladin later though. I was a Dragoon, man, and I loved it, and they were horrible. I got to admit, when I got to end game, your pet dies. It was like on a freaking some ridiculous cooldown, like 2 hour, 3 hour cooldown for your pet. So he dies, and now you're worthless, and your DPS sucks. So there was a lot of intricacy to this game. Every single class, man, besides there was a few that you could unlock in the beginning, all right? Some very basic, like Thief, White Mage, Warrior, don't remember them all, but the Monk, there was a few of them, but the classes like Dragoon, Paladin, these really cool, ridiculously cool classes, you had to go unlock them. First you had to level up some other class that you would generally be like, maybe this will be like a sub job, because you could do 2 jobs, one main job, one sub that was like half the level of the main job. So you would go out and unlock what you really wanted to be after you'd already leveled up something to the point where you could survive the encounter and the quests to actually unlock it. And it took a while, it took time, to go out and unlock the Dragoon. You got to go out, you got to kind of learn about the lore. You got to go, I don't remember it specifically, but I know you have to go and you have to visit this gravesite, this giant dragon is. You have to do all kinds of things, and it was like that for every class. You know, there was a lot of things you had to do to unlock it. So when you finally unlocked this class, man, it felt so special. I gotta admit that no game has made me feel so special just from having the class. Like, I was really something unique. I had to go out there and get this class, and it wasn't easy, and I had to work towards it, and it took weeks, maybe in a month if you consider leveling up, from the very beginning to getting it unlocked. And it was so serious that when you got that class, man, you had to make it work. That's what you wanted to be. You were so proud of being a Dragoon or being a Paladin or whatever it was that you unlocked, that you really wanted to kind of show everybody how good that class was because you represented it. And this is something that I don't think will ever return. I don't think we'll ever get a game where you get that kind of feeling like you did from Final Fantasy XI back then, because of the effort it took to just get your class even. It's not like you just picked it and lots of other ones are running around. I'll never forget the day that I seen the first Dragoon in his full artifact, if that's even what it was called, correct me if I'm wrong, in his full artifact gear where he actually looked like a Dragoon, man, and he looked so freaking sweet, and I took like 1,000,000 screenshots, and I was like, man, this guy's so cool. I want to be that guy. When I seen him, I wasn't even a Dragoon yet. I hadn't even unlocked it. I was like a warrior, and I was looking, I was like, man, oh my god, this guy looks so freaking cool, man. I gotta get this too. I want to stand around in town and look like this guy. Look how sweet that armor looks. Look at the ridiculously awesome stats. Spoiler alert, stats weren't that great. I thought they were at the time, etc. So this kind of no-lifing way of playing was really prevalent in Final Fantasy XI, because from my perspective, that was the only way you could get anything done, is by no-lifing it. And I mean literally, dude, we would have groups going for 24 hours straight. If I was off that day, I would not sleep. I would hardly eat. Hardly even use the bathroom. And that was kind of the way people played the game back then. And I'm not even saying I want to return to that type of gameplay, but it just kind of shows you that when you make people work for something and you make them go out and do these ridiculous quest lines and unlock things, like in Pantheon, you're gonna have to go out and unlock these special abilities, these prime scrolls, to be special and be unique and unlock really cool features for your class. Man, it is going, that kind of atmosphere and that kind of gameplay is going to put you on course to absolutely love your character and love this world, and it's just going to be so different. For anybody that hasn't experienced that, EverQuest had a lot of features where you can kind of relate with what I'm talking about, where things took time and effort. Not everybody had it or had the time to do it, so when you did, when you found it, you got it, it was something special and you were proud of it, and it made everything that much more rewarding. And that's just something I wanted to kind of put out there, something I was thinking about. I was looking through some Final Final Fantasy 11 discussions and stuff like that online. I just kind of want to put that out there, guys, because I know you guys can kind of relate with me, and I'd like to hear your stories about no-lifing, about some hilarious things that happened to you, or your lifestyle during the EverQuest, Final Fantasy 11, Dark Age of Camelot, whatever game it is, and hear from you. And guys, that's really all I wanted to say, and until next time, God bless and happy gaming. Listen to what I say. I've been making videos all day. My friends all say I'm it's a video buffet. You can even hit replay. But please just subscribe. I can't even describe being part of my tribe. I'll even offer you a prize. But just please just subscribe and hit the bell notification too.